Hey everyone, hi. Hi folks. What's up? Yeah, Naveen. Yeah, I managed to get some sleep, but yeah. How are you all doing, everyone? How is everybody doing? All good? Naveen, were you present in the masterclass? Did you also attend the masterclass? Oh, you were there. Okay. Uh, okay. I know, Naveen. I know. I know. Even though that's a free class, I mean, talk about what do you say? Forgetting the word. Even though it's a free class, yeah, the I now got the word entitlement. Talk about the entitlementness. Free class, still. Don't do this, don't do that. Be here, be there. Stop talking about this. By the way, went to coffee roastery, nice place. Nice, good. I hope you also liked the food and the service, apart from the menu. Cool. Let's begin. Should we get started, everyone? Should we get started? Yep. Should we start? Awesome. Chalo, let's start then. Just a second. Just a second. We wanted to uh, take some quizzes, but take it. So no worries. I said I introduce quiz from next class, okay? I'll introduce a lot of quizzes from next class. Some revision quizzes that will be in the beginning of the class. I'll talk about them, like what we discussed in the last class, depending on that, those quizzes will be, and some quizzes during the class. So I can see how much you guys are revising as well. Okay? So let's begin, folks. Okay. So if you remember in the last class, assignments will be there na, in your dashboard. Ashutosh? I will be giving you assignments in class as well. Don't worry. Okay. Okay. So, if all of you remember, last class, where did we end up the last class? Everyone? Where did we end the last class? Where did we end the last class? SRP done. Correct. So, what will we do today? We'll do open close principle. So, I'll tell you. So, out of the solid, we'll do all the other four today. So, open close principle, Liskov substitution principle, interface segregation principle, and dependency inversion principle. So these four I'll talk about today. Okay, sure. Let's get started. So what is this open close principle? Everybody can see my board clearly, right? Open close principle. Okay. So now open close principle basically says that your code should be open for extension and closed for modification. It should be open for extension and closed for modification. Okay. So what do we mean by this? What do we mean by this? That means code should be basically on a higher level. That basically means that the code should be easy to extend. Okay, easy to extend, as in add new features. Easy to add new features. Okay, but adding new features, adding new features should not require should not require should not require changing the already written code. Changing the already written code, that should not actually be changed. So let's discuss. Yes, Naveen, it can be majorly we talk about a method. So majorly in this case, it is talking about a method that, let's say I've written a method which is doing something. I should not be changing that. And you can also talk about a class also, right? So it should not be changing a class. It should be adding something new to the class, but it should not be basically any code that is written already should not change. You should add more code, but you should not change the existing code. That's what basically this principle says, everyone. So basically, if I want to add new changes, right? Basically, you have to summarize. If I have to add new changes slash features, new changes slash features should be added by adding more code instead of updating the current code. So new changes and features should be added by adding more code instead of updating the current code. Now, the things that it's actually impossible to always write a new feature without changing your current code. I mean, if you talk about, like, say, in the entire software development life cycle, it is almost impossible to not change your current code and add new features. So what you should do is updating the current code. You should try the minimal. Basically, try to update as minimal changes, minimal code as possible. Okay, as minimal as possible. As minimal as possible. Right? Let's take an example. Let's take an example for this. Okay. So if you all remember, we discussed this, right, in the SRP question, that we had a bird class. All of you remember that design a bird problem we discussed in the SRP? Yes? No? Yes? No? Folks? Yes? Okay. Okay. So basically, if you remember, we had all these attributes, right? The name of the bird, the type of the bird, the number of wings on the bird, right? Let's say weight of the bird, color of the bird, and three things the bird was doing. The bird was flying, the bird was making sound, the bird was dancing, right? Now, if you remember that, okay, we had to support multiple types of birds, right? So we had to support birds like sparrow, crow, pigeon, let's say peacock, right? All four birds. Now, in this case, everybody, what is happening is that if we use that make sound method, let's say, if we use the make sound method, let's say pass the bird here, that if bird is equal to crow, then you make some sound. Else if bird is equal to sparrow, then you make some sound. Else if bird is equal to pigeon, then you make some sound. Else if bird is equal to peacock, then you make some sound. Do you all remember this? This is what we wrote initially. Yes, no? Everybody? Now here, to store, like, sort of basically fix the SRP, to make it compliant with SRP, what we did, we changed this method to this, if you remember. If you remember, we changed this method that, okay, the sound making logic should actually go away from the method, and the method should now call other methods. So let's say it should call a method called crow sound. It should call a method called sparrow sound. It should call a method called pigeon sound. It should call a method called peacock sound. Right? Peacock sound. This was to make it compliant, right? To make it compliant with SRP. But let's assume, even after doing this, here we get a question that, okay, please add a new bird to our software, parrot. If I have to add that, everyone, what will happen? That you will make a new addition here in this method. I'll make a new addition here saying that, okay, else if bird is equal to parrot, make parrot sound, correct? Is that correct, everyone? Yes, no? Are you clear with this? Everybody? Yes, no, yes, no. What happened? Are you sleepy? Very early morning? Okay, okay. So basically here, what is happening? The problem that is happening here is that this is actually, this method right now is violating OCP. Why violating OCP? As when we are adding a new functionality, the make sound method is being modified, right? Is that correct? Yes or no, everyone? Yes, correct. Make sound method is getting modified, right? Okay. So how do we fix it? I'll come to this. I'll come to that. How do we fix it? I'll come to that. But before that, I want to make you understand why OCP is extremely important, right? Why OCP is important. What is the reason? Why are we learning OCP and why OCP is important? See, I mean, OCP is breaking, right? The OCP was that if you add a new feature where existing code should not change, but you are changing the make sound method, right? Making a change in the make sound method, correct? When we say extend the code, that means add a new method, add a new class, add a new package. don't change existing methods, right? Okay. That's what I'm coming to, right? Why OCP? Why do you need to follow OCP? What problems will come if you don't follow OCP? Right? So first of all, see, if I have already written a method, that means I have already tested that method. Let's say make sound method was already existing in your system and it was used at multiple places. That means it was already tested and things were stable. Yes, no? Correct, everyone? That let's say make sound as a method was existing in our system. Then it was already tested. It was already used all other places. Now, if I make changes in an existing method, if I make changes in an existing method, do we know whether it will break its older functionality or not? We don't know it. We'll have to test again. We'll have to test again. So following OCP, helps to test things or helps to maintain easy testing. Helps to maintain easier testing. Correct? No, Naveen, where is the old TV coming from, new TV coming from? All I'm saying is that simple thing, right? That you have a method that you're using at multiple places in your code. That method is already tested, that method is already stable. We know method is working fine. But someday somebody comes and makes changes in that method. Can you guarantee that the method will not break anymore? Lakshmi, can you guarantee that the method will break or not? Again, where is the parent-child class coming here? There's no parent-child. I'm updating the same method. The make sound method, same method I'm updating, not updating in the child class or not updating anywhere else. There's no there's no parent-child here, guys. Please don't get confused. Why is there's no parent-child? I'm doing the updation of the same method inside the same class. Correct? Clear hai? Everyone, can I get a thumbs up till now? Are you clear? Yes, no? From all of you in the class? Okay, today a lot of people, I'm feeling that you guys are in sleep, but it's okay. Let's move forward. Okay. Number 2. Do you know regression? What is regression? Anybody knows what is regression? Anybody knows what is regression? Nobody knows? Nobody knows what is regression? What is regression? Testing existing code, repeated, dual functionality test, daily functionality test, complete testing of old functionality. So basically regression means that you write a script. You write a script that tests your code end to end. Is that correct? Automation testing. Right, everyone? You write a script that tests your code end to end. Is that correct? Is that correct? Yes? Okay. So if I change my existing methods, will my regression work if I change the existing methods? Because I've already written tests for my existing methods. Regression will break, right? So if I follow OCP, following OCP, regression will not break. Correct? Correct? Regression will not break. Okay. Number 3. Parallel development becomes easier because you are not changing any existing code. So others can use those methods. Let's say 2 people are working in the code base and somebody else is using a method A and you are making changes in the existing method A, then their code base is also impacted, right? Their new changes are also impacted, correct? But if I follow OCP, that if I don't change my existing code, if I write a new method, they will not be using the new method. They will be using the existing method. Will anything break for them? For the other developer working parallelly? Correct? And then the code is modular. So are you all clear with the advantages of OCP? Can I get a yes or no from all of you if you're all clear? If you're all clear, can I get a yes or no from everybody? Yes, no. Yes, no. I need a response from everybody in the class if you're clear till this point. How it was violating OCP and what are the advantages of OCP? Yes or no, everyone? Okay. Very few responses. I need more responses from all of you. Chalo. Let's move forward. Now, let's create a new version of our bird class. Bird version 2. Tell me one thing, everyone. Now, tell me one thing, everyone. In bird, what is happening? If you see, the question was very simple. Every bird should have some properties and three methods. What are the three methods? Make sound, fly, and dance. Just give me 10 seconds, guys. 10 seconds. Okay. So three birds. So basically, each bird should have some properties and functionalities, right? Make sound, dance, and fly. But each bird has its own implementation, of make sound, fly, and dance. Is that correct, everyone? Are you clear with these two statements? That every bird should have some properties. Properties like these. Properties like name, type, number of wings, weight, color, and three methods: fly, make sound, and dance. But each bird will fly differently, will make sound differently, will dance differently. Is everybody clear on these two statements? Yes or no? Yes? Okay. Now, in this kind of a scenario, what should we use? In this kind of a scenario, what should we use? Interface, okay. Inheritance. Nitesh, inheritance with what? Inheritance with interface or inheritance with what? Abstract class? Okay. Can an interface contain properties? Can an interface contain properties? No, but the bird should have some properties, right? So what can we use? Can we use an abstract class? So in this case, can we say make the bird class only be responsible for generic details and not specific implementation. Is that correct? Only for generic details and not for specific implementations. Okay. So basically what we will do, we'll create the bird class like this. So we'll have a bird class. I think it's better to create it below this page. Bird, name, color, number of wings, weight, and sorry, type. Now comes the abstract methods. What are the abstract methods? Fly, make sound, and dance. Right? So this bird is an abstract class, and this is your abstract methods. Make sense, everyone? Make sense, everybody? Just give me 10 more seconds. I'll be back. Sure, Mashmira, let me just share the Notability link with you. That will be better. Okay, awesome. Let's begin. So, what we will do, is that we will go ahead and create child classes of this bird. Okay, we'll create child classes of this bird. What will we do? Child classes of this bird. So, what are the child classes? Crow. What were the bird types, everyone? Crow, sparrow, pigeon, peacock. Okay, crow, sparrow, pigeon, and peacock. Everyone clear on this? Right? And for each one of them, I will implement the fly method, right? Make sound method and dance method. Everybody, are you clear on this now? All clear now, everyone? So now, is there any need for writing a make sound method with multiple if else, if else, if else, if else? Yes or no? So now, everyone, if let's say, if we get a requirement that add a new bird, peacock, do I need to make change in any existing code, or we'll just add a new class with specific implementations? Specific implementations. Is this thing clear, everyone? Okay. Now the other question is, so I'll come to that, Sumit. I'll come to your question. Now, everyone, simple thing is that in the bird class, is the bird class holding any logic? Now, can I say bird class has fewer reasons to change? Correct? Very fewer reasons to change. Bird class has almost no logic. So bird class will not change at all. So by doing this, we are not only we are following now both SRP plus OCP. Both are being followed in this direction. Okay. Now, Sumit, to your question, let's say a method called breathe comes into the picture. Let's say breathe. Now every bird will breathe, correct, everyone? And every bird will breathe in the same way, because breathing, again, taking oxygen, removing carbon dioxide. In that case, can I not just write a concrete breathe method? This method is concrete. Right? And by inheritance, will this method not get copied over to all the other birds? Do I need to worry about it at all, Sumit? Everyone else, do we need to worry about the breathe concrete method? No, right? Exactly. Exactly. Correct. Correct. All good? So are you all clear? What about eat? Eat as in? What do you mean, Lashmina, the eat? Like, are you saying that everybody will eat differently? Like that? So in that case, add a new eat method here and add new methods. Eat, 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 eat. Are you changing any existing method? Are you making changes in any existing method? No, right? We're not making changes in any existing method. Class is changed, but so basically, understand this. Even though class is changed, somebody who might be using the crow class, they will only be using these three methods, no? The existing methods. Can they use the new method which you have not even written? Everyone? Can they use the new method which you have not even written yet? Didn't get you, Sumit. Yeah, you will. That's what you will do. You will add the eat method in the abstract class, and then the implementation of eat will go across eat will go across. Correct? So are you like simply think, what did I say? For OCP, if I don't follow OCP, my existing tests will break, my existing regression will break, and somebody else using my current existing code, things might break. Is adding this new method, will it break any existing test cases? Yeah, that is okay, Sumit. That is okay. You are adding a new method. You are changing the class by adding a new method. You are not changing the current methods. Simple method. Simple question, everyone. Uh, simple question is that simple question is, if I add this eat method across all, will any of your current tests, will they break? Will they break? Any of your regression tests will break? No. Anybody else using the older methods like fly, make sound, dance, will those get impacted? They will not. Correct. So what is the problem? OCP is not getting violated, right? Adding new methods in all implementation is not good. It is not extensible as we are modifying all existing classes. Ankit, you have to understand the business use case. If the business requirement says that I want to add a eat method here, that every bird should have a eat method, then Ankit, will you not add the eat method implementation across all the birds? If your business comes and says, that's what the question was, right? That there is an eat method across all the birds and every bird eats differently. Simply understand one thing, that if the business comes, everyone, and says that I want to add another method called eat, every bird will eat, but they will eat differently. Then what will you do? Will you not change the existing code, Ankit? Will you not change? Will you not add the eat across all the classes? Yes, no. Ankit, not getting response from your side. Yes, no. Yes, no. Yeah, so that's what the question was, right? If we add one new method in abstract class, then all child classes need to implement it. Lakshminath, if you add an abstract method, then you need to. If you add a concrete method, then you don't need to. So that's what I said. Now, if it is breathe, if breathe is a concrete method, you don't need to do anything. Just add it here, and by inheritance, everybody will get it. But if you add eat as an abstract method, then you will have to do this. Okay? Ankit, I'll come to that. I'll come to that. Yes, yes, Mishra. Yes, yes. Your understanding is correct. Okay. Naveen, what is your question, Naveen? What do you mean by comparison? The code is clear in front of you, right? This is a conditional if make sound method. Here is basically no conditional make sound method. As simple as that. Right? Guys, just give me 10 seconds. Sorry everyone, I have severe morning allergies. What happens is that if I wake up in the morning, my nose starts running like anything. Debashish, I think you missed that part. We have properties as well. Can we add properties in an interface? What do you mean by taken? What if else? What do you mean by if else? Like how does the if else get taken care of? Which if else? Then just create that, right? So bird B equals to new pigeon B dot make sound. That's it. Correct? Right? Okay, sure. Let me unmute you, Lasmina, so that I understand your like where are you getting stuck. Hey, hi. Hello. Lasmina, I've unmuted you. Can you speak up, please? Hello. Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, hi Sandeep.
Yeah, tell me, what is your doubt?
No, previously Nishant also make the statement his statement like close to modification means it doesn't change the code at all. But if you introduce the heat class in the abstract bird class, then we are changing everywhere, correct? I mean, all the code is changing in all the classes.
Again, but are we changing any method? See, simply understand. Um, what did we say? Why OCP? Why are we learning OCP? What is the reason behind OCP? That basically, if I change any code, it might lead to breaking of my existing tests, might break my automation regression, might break somebody else using those methods, correct?
Okay,
But is
methods.
that happening here?
Yeah.
If I use the 8 method, will that happen even though I'm changing, let's say, all the classes? Now, understand one thing. This is a business requirement. You cannot say to business,
Okay.
because my solid principle is getting impacted, I will not implement the business use case, right? If the business comes and says that, hey, I
Yeah.
want to have an eat method, that every bird has an eat method, but they have their own implementation of eat method, then you will have to do this, right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Is there any chance for you not to
Okay.
do it? You will have to do it. Nothing is possible.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's
Hmm.
assume everyone, let's say, that they say that, hey, we want to change the fly logic for every bird. Let's say they just say and that we have updated our game version. Let's say we have very good game engine. I want to update the fly logic for all of them. Then you will have to come and update the fly logic for all the existing code. Will you say that is violating OCP? Everyone, please answer. Let's say if the business comes and says that we want to change how the birds fly. We want to change for every bird their fly logic. Then you will have to change this fly method, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
no? So is that violating OCP or not?
No, I think.
Why no? What is OCP, Ashwina?
Oh, I think here again we need to do the test cases again, correct? Like when we are changing the existing functionality.
Because if you change the existing method, you'll have to write the test cases again, you'll have to do regression again, you'll have to check all the behavior again, correct?
Yes,
So whosoever is using the fly method, their code will also get impacted, correct?
yes, yeah,
So is it violating OCP?
yes.
Yes, it is violating OCP, correct. But can you say business ko ki no, I will not do it because OCP is getting violated?
No, no, no. Like we should do and we should do the again regression test everything.
Exactly, correct. So always understand one thing, that solid principles are principles, they are guidelines. You never stick to them
Yeah.
so hard that you don't implement the business use cases, right?
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Depends on situation we need to do.
Exactly. Right. They're just guidelines, they're just principles. So we have to follow them as much as we can. But then again, if the
Okay.
situation does not allow us to follow, we cannot follow.
Yeah, yeah, got it.
Right?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Now, are you clear with the OCP part? Like,
Yeah, yeah, I'm. Yes, yes, yes. Thanks, Sandeep.
ठीक, cool. ठीक. Nishant, even though it's not impacting the make sound in the dance method, it is still impacting the fly, right? Whosoever is using the fly. Yeah, Dipti, go ahead.
Hi Sandeep, good morning. So my question is, if we are using an interface and if we add a new function to it, is it violating the OCP for
No,
interface?
because you're adding a new function. You're not changing any existing code base, right? So if I add a new method, I will go ahead and write new implementations of that method. But my existing methods in those classes will not get changed, right?
But if some client is implementing that interface, right, then it will break definitely. Yeah. So
No, why will it break? Because if some client is implementing that interface, I mean, obviously the child classes of that interface you will have to go and change. But your running code functionality will not get impacted, right?
mm, not sure, because if someone is using that interface, then they
Huh?
have to implement it, right? So it means
No, no,
that's a
no, no, no.
breaking it for themselves,
No.
right?
Using an interface and implementing the interface are two different things. First, you need to clarify on that. So, for example, let's say I have a vehicle interface, and let's say
Hmm.
car is implementing it, bike is implementing it, right? And
Right.
somebody, let's say, and let's say there is a method called start engine. Let's say, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with this start engine, let's say vehicle V equals to new car. Somebody else is using it. Some other client class is let's say using it, and they are doing V dot start engine, correct?
Right.
Now, if I let's say add a new method called start AC to this interface,
Hmm.
I will
Hmm.
obviously implement them here, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I have to
Okay.
obviously implement them. But will that impact my client?
No.
So when you say using the interface, you mean this.
Mhm.
This is the child
Okay.
of interface, correct? So your
Hmm.
use case is never getting impacted, right?
Okay. Okay. Makes sense.
Correct?
Cool. Yeah.
Yes. Good, awesome.
Thank you. Thanks, Sandeep.
Go to that. Cool. Here, everyone, right? Yes, yes. Okay. Okay. So Naveen, if business asks you to do something, you cannot say because solid principles are getting impacted, I'll not do it. You'll have to figure out a way to do it. Right? Chalo. Anyway, now I will come with an interesting problem. Okay, I will come with an interesting problem. The problem is that let's say somebody comes and asks you that he add a new word, penguin. Add a new word called penguin. But the problem with penguin is penguin cannot fly, can't fly. Then what will you do? If the penguin can't fly, then what will you do? Now, if I use the same thing, let's say we already have the bird abstract class, everyone. We already have the bird abstract class, everybody. Yes, no? The code will obviously is pathetic, but is it even possible to write so many classes? No, right? This is a very unique term. It is actually known as class explosion. This is actually known as class explosion. Sometimes bad design leads to class explosion. Okay? Sometimes bad design leads to class explosion. So how do we actually solve it? Everyone. How do we actually solve it? Let's see. Let's see. So let's see. Just hold on for a few minutes. I'll come to it very. So what happened? What happened? If I talk about the bird design that we have done till now, like the evolution of the bird design, I talk about that till now. Evolution of bird design. Evolution of bird design. So in version 0, we had a bird class. And inside the bird class, we had all the attributes and methods. All the attributes were there. The fly method was there. And this fly method and all these methods were, other methods were also there. This was a conditional fly. Do you all remember in the very beginning? Conditional fly, conditional make sound, lot of if else's. Remember? If bird is this, fly like this. If bird is this, make sound like this. All of you remember, right? The very first design. Right? Conditional. Lot of if and else. Lot of if else's. These were violating. This was violating SRP and OCP, correct? SRP and OCP, correct? Yes. Then we said that, okay, let's do one thing. Let's just go to version 1. In version 1, we had our bird. We made the bird an abstract class. And this method was all these methods were abstract. And then we created the implementations. If you remember, pigeon, crow, sparrow, right? Peacock, and all that, right? So this was not violating SRP. This was not violating OCP. But the problem was, if we have to add a bird, let's say, which can't fly or dance, then it becomes problematic, right? Then it becomes problematic, correct? Naveen, fly is a method. Fly is a method, right? Number of wings is an attribute. So attribute where you can put any value, but in a method you cannot like keep it empty. If the bird is not flyable, keeping the method empty is not a good idea. Like it should not have fly method at all, right? Make sense? So the problem statement that we finally reached to was, if I write down the problem statement for you properly, the problem statement that we finally reached was that some birds demonstrate a behavior while other birds don't demonstrate that behavior, right? Some birds will demonstrate a behavior while other birds will not demonstrate that behavior. For example, some birds can fly, some birds cannot fly. Is that correct, everyone? Just give me 10 seconds, guys. Now, should we keep an empty method or an exception throwing method here? Should we keep a method like, for example, fly? If somebody is not flying, should we keep an empty fly method in that bird? If the bird is not flying, should we keep an empty fly method? Or the fly method is throwing an exception? Does that look like a good idea? No, right? So basically, only the birds having a behavior should have a method corresponding to that behavior. Correct? Corresponding to that behavior, right? And there should be some way to group those. We should be okay. We should be able to group some behaviors together. Okay, I have a question to all of you. Can you guys tell me line number 1 is more readable or line number 2 is more readable? Like in terms of readability, which is better, 1 or 2? 2 is better, yeah? Achha, okay, I'll keep 2 then. Okay, fine. Let's move forward. Okay. Now, what do you do? Simple. Since abstract classes are not working here for the behavior. Now, everyone, one question to you. Tell me, here, this abstract class, this flyable bird abstract class? No, right? Okay. So if it did not contain any attribute, do I need to make it an abstract class? Do I actually need to make it an abstract class? No, right? It can be an interface. Correct? So can I do something like this to solve this problem? The answer is very simple. To solve this problem, the answer is very simple. Just do one thing. For each specific behavior, add an interface with an abstract method depicting that behavior. That means the final design, the version 3, would look something like this. First of all, make a body class which contains all the attributes like name, type, weight, color, whatever, etc. And let's say another method called breathe, because breathe is common across all the birds. A concrete method called breathe, which is implementing itself properly. Okay. Now create the interface for all the behaviors that we have. What are the interfaces? What are the behaviors, everyone? What are the 3 behaviors that everybody's like we are talking about in our software? Fly, correct? So make an interface called flyable. Make an interface called flyable. With a fly abstract method. Similarly, soundable with make sound abstract method, and one more called danceable now, everyone, let's say if I have to implement multiple such birds, let's say the birds are crow, sparrow, pigeon, peacock, penguin. Now one thing is very clear, right? That all of them are child of the bird abstract class, right? Bird class. All of them are child of this because all of these need the attributes. All of them need the attributes. Yes or no? Okay. Now let's say flyable. Let's say crow can fly. Crow can fly, sparrow, like all of them, let's say how many of them can fly? Let's say crow can fly, sparrow can fly, pigeon can fly. Can peacock fly? Can peacock fly? No, right? Very little. So let's say no. Let's say no. Okay. Soundable. Okay. So crows can make sound, everyone? Crows can make sound, right? Crows can make sound. Sparrows can do sparrow make sound? Sparrows do they make sound? ठीक. Sure. Sparrows also make sound. Pigeon make sound. Peacock make sound. Penguin make sound. ठीक है. Dance. Only I'll say peacock and penguin can dance. Let's say. Let's assume that only peacock and this can dance and this can dance. That's it. Looks good. Everyone. So you just choose whatever functionality you want to showcase, just implement that interface. And can we implement multiple interfaces in Java? Can we implement multiple interfaces? We can, right? Okay, I have one question. I have one last question. Is this an abstract class? Yes or no? If yes, then why? If yes, then why? Is it containing any abstract method inside it? Everyone, is the bird class containing any abstract method inside it? Breathe is not abstract. Breathe is concrete. Okay. I have one question. Should you allow the user to create a bird with no functionality, like fly, dance, or sound? Do you want them to create a bird object with no functionality? We don't want them, right? Something should be there. Either it should fly or make sound or dance. Correct? Sorry. Right? That means I don't want users to be able to create objects of the bird class. Exactly, Dhananjay, you're right. But Lashmina, that bird, we don't know what type of the bird it is, whether it's crow or penguin or pigeon, just generic bird. Generic bird object should not be there, right? Because I don't want them to create the objects of this, I will make it an abstract class. I'll make it an abstract class. Okay? Guys, I need 10 more seconds. I'm really sorry. Just give me 10 seconds. I'm saying that there should be no generic bird object, right? I don't want them to have just a bird object. It should be either a crow object or a pigeon object or a penguin object or anything. So because I don't want them to be able to create a generic bird object, if I make a class abstract class, can you create object of an abstract class, Naveen? Can you create object of an abstract class, Naveen? Can we create object of a, no, right? We cannot. So because we want to stop them to be able to create objects of the bird class, I make bird abstract. Yeah. Cool. Clear hai? Everyone? Final version is clear to all of you? Okay. So now I want you all to write the code for this. This is an assignment. Extremely important. Assignment. Write code for birds V0 to V3. Not just V3, all the versions. If you don't write all the versions, you'll not understand things clearly. Okay? Yes. If you have to implement this, it will look like this. So let's see if I want to create, let's say, crow. So crow can do three things, right? Crow can, red color is fly, make sound. Crow cannot dance, right? So what I'll do, It will look like this. Class crow extends bird, not birds, bird, extends bird, implements flyable, comma, soundable. This is how it will look like. Okay? Make sense? Devashish? Everyone else make sense? If I want to group them together, everyone, if I want to group them together, can I just create a list of flyable? All the flyable birds can go here. Similarly, list of soundable. All the soundable birds will go here. Similarly, list of danceable. All the danceable birds will go here. Groups of similar behavior. Why can't you use subcasting? You can definitely use subcasting. Who stopped you from it? But just creating a group of list of bird, Rajesh, that does not guarantee that the bird can fly or bird can make sound or bird can dance. And can you guarantee if I just create a list of bird? I want to have a specific behavior to be there, right? Everyone make sense? Yes, no? Any questions till now? All clear? Yes, no, yes, no. Yeah, Hari, I'll mute you. Lashminath, I'm just saying that if in case some use case comes that, okay, make all the flyable birds fly. In that case, you will create a list of flyable birds, which will hold all the objects of the flyable birds. And on it, you can run a loop and call fly method. You remember we did one thing, list of users, print name, user was instructor, flyable is an interface. Correct, Lashminath. Do you guys remember this? We did in the last class. List of users. User was instructor, TA, mentor, but everybody was having user as a parent. So everybody had the print name method. So I could just run a loop across the list of user and then call the print name method. Same thing is here, right? List of flyable. Fly is the flyable interface will be the parent of all the flyable birds, crow, sparrow, pigeon, right? So if I create objects of this inside this list, I can easily run a loop and call the fly method. Here? Sure. Awesome. Let's do one thing. Let's take a break. Let's take a break. I will also take doubts in this break, so the break will be a bit longer. So break and doubts. Next 10 minutes. We'll resume at 8:30 a.m. IST. Okay, sure. Cool. Let me add the bookmark for the break as well. Let me unmute Hari. Hari, go ahead. Raymond, you're correct. You're right. But you will only, that comes like LSP. Okay. Version 2 may, do you think anything like that can happen in version 2, in this final version? This one. Any problem that can happen like that? No, right? Because in version 2, I can easily do bird B equals to new crow or new sparrow or new penguin or new peacock. Nothing will throw me an error or nothing will go wrong. Correct? All possible. So LSP is valid. So version 2 is also valid with LSP. Clear? Is everybody clear what is LSP? Everybody clear what is LSP? Yes, no? Yes, no from everybody in the class. Not getting enough responses. Yes, no, guys, respond. Tick. There is one more thing. One more part of LSP. Penguin output as well. Naveen? For what? Output for what? Will your bird have the fly method? Naveen? In the version 2? Before you say fly, will your bird have a fly method? Naveen? Will your remote have the fly button? In the version 2? In this version? Is your bird having the fly method? Your bird method has only breathe. Any problem if I call breathe? Any problem if I call breathe? Correct. Okay. This was one part of LSP. This was the first part of LSP. LSP part A. There's another part of LSP which is very easy to understand. Printer interface, let's say. I created a printer interface and a print abstract method. Okay. This is an interface. Now, where can I print? I am inheriting this interface into two places. Number one, into a physical printer. Physical printer. By the way, are you guys getting any background noise? Are you guys getting any background noise? No, right? Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay. Because if I change this to this, now are you getting any background noise? Let's go back to crisp. Crisp is better. Now no noise, right? Now no noise. Sorry. Anyway, so what I was saying is, no drains out, man. This construction. Every Bangalore is like, India is a developing nation. Continuously some development is happening. Some building, some road, something. Anyway, so what I was saying is that, let's say in this printer interface, I implement it into a physical printer. And here the print method prints a page. And here in this printer, I let's say, did a command line printer. And the print method provides output on command line. Now I have a question. Even though both of them are called print, do they logically go together? Printing on a physical page and printing on a command line, are they same? Should they go together? Should they be grouped together into one parent? No, right? Obviously no. Okay, how many of you went through the OS class? Yes. So you might have used something known as runnable. Did you guys use something known as a runnable interface? Where we had a run method, which used to deal with multi-threading. Right? Now let's say if I implement this interface into a class called person. Person implements runnable. And inside this run method, I write the logic for how a person runs. Does that make sense? Even though it's run, but can I write that logic of how a person runs? The physical way of running, the physical act of running, physical act of running. No, right? Yeah. So that is also what LSP says, right? That is what LSP says, that don't combine things together which don't logically go together. Don't combine / group things which logically don't go together, right? Exactly, right? Any other example? Sure. Let's say I created a sorter interface, sorter, and I created a method called sorter interface. Now this is implemented by this is implemented by, let's say, ArrayList, where if you implement the sort method, it sorts the list. And I also implemented to a human class, where the sort method sorts all live problems. Possible? Is it a good idea to combine them together? Sorting your life issues, sorting a list. So this is still not even possible also. This is still not even possible in real life. This is not even possible in real life. So you wish something like this existed, right? That could sort all your issues. Yeah, Shardul. All of us will want that. Okay. So basically, LSP has two things. The first one was that the child object should be easily replaceable for a parent type variable. Like any child can go into that place without any extra special treatment. So version 1 was violating LSP. Version 2, the final version of our board design, is also following LSP. Okay. Let's go to the last. What happened? Array? 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 Let's go to the last. No, not last. Second last. Interface segregation principles. Interface segregation principle. What is interface segregation principle? Any idea? Any idea, everyone? What is interface segregation principle? Nope. Nope. Version 3 is interface segregation principle. So basically, everyone, what did we do? Initially, in the abstract class, we were grouping all the things together. You remember, we were creating multiple groups of methods. Right? Why? Because some birds could fly. Some birds could fly. Some birds can dance. Some birds can fly and dance both. Right? So we needed, what do you say, a combination of all of that. But now, do we need a combination of all of these things? Do we need a combination of all of these things, everyone? No, right? Version 2 suits here. Exactly. Version 2 will suit here. Hey, what happened? What is going on? Just a second. Version 2 suits here, right? So you can just implement whatever you want. You can just implement whatever you want. Correct? Right? So you should not group them. So basically, version 2 follows ISP. What are the principles in ISP? Let's see the principles in ISP. Number 1, interfaces should be as light as possible. Interfaces should be as light as possible. Number two, we should have as less methods as, basically this means as less methods as possible. And finally, we should actually ideally have only one method. Ideally should have only one method. Ideally should have only one method. Number four, if multiple methods, then make sure they can be logically together. They can be logically be together. Sure, Rajesh. Version 2 is that one, the final one. Okay? Correct. You're right. So even if they by chance go together, like even if you write multiple methods instead of one, make sure that they logically go together, right? That means, for example, let's say transaction. Let's say I'm creating an interface called transaction. So in transaction, what makes sense? A credit and a debit. Credit, debit together go together, right? That is making sense. But let's say in transaction, if I insert, let's say KYC updates, should that go in transaction interface? Like doing KYC of a customer, should that go in transaction, everyone? No. But credit debit in a transaction makes sense. Correct? Basically, ISP is nothing but SRP for interfaces. Make sure that your interface has single responsibilities only. That's it. ISP is nothing but SRP for interfaces. That's it. Okay? Like as minimal responsibilities as possible. Sumit, no. And it's okay because your every interface is a business requirement. For example, in the bird class also, in the bird version 2, if you see, we are having 3 interfaces. Why? Because our business wants these 3 methods, these 3 features, right? That's why we have these 3 interfaces. If our business wants a lot of features, obviously we'll have a lot of interfaces. We cannot do anything, right? It depends on the business use case. Business wants more feature, I will create more interface. As simple as that. Can't do anything. At the end of the day, business will only win. At the end of the day, only business will win. Okay? Not exactly, I mean, that's not a way to sort of visualize it. The way to visualize interface will be like, what do you say? I mean, uh, let me think. Business point of view, but the business point of view, it's a feature. Correct. Let's say I'm creating a bird. Let's say I'm creating. So you have seen this, like while creating games, you might have created avatars, right? While before starting the game, you create an avatar, correct? Okay, that this person can, let's say, like for example, let's say we are given 100 points. Okay, this person can run very fast. This person can jump very high, and this has a very high stamina, right? So, but if you use those features, then you will not be able to. Okay, he's very good with guns. He's not very good with guns, like those kind of things, right? You add those things. Jira though is a different beast altogether. By the way, do you know where is the name Jira comes from? You know where is the name Jira comes from? Any idea? So basically, Jira comes from this word called Bugzilla. Bugzilla comes from Godzilla. So actually, what happened when the founders of Atlassian, Mike and Scott, they left college? The story is very interesting. That they actually did not want to join a job because they hated wearing uniforms. They hated wearing like formal clothes, tie, and all that. They hated ties. Okay, so they said that okay, what can we do so that we don't have to go to a job and wear ties and all that? They started their own company. So they had a credit card combined together. They took a loan of $20,000 from that credit card, and they wanted to create some software. Some software they wanted to create. But while creating the software, it was getting very difficult for them to maintain a list of bugs, right? Like all the bugs that they were finding, it was becoming very difficult for them to keep a proper track record of the bugs and what was worked and all that, right? So they thought that, hey, the software that we are making, we are not sure about that. But this bug tracking thing is very good. So let's create something known as Bugzilla, because bugs can be a big problem like Godzilla, like how Godzilla can come and destroy your town. Similarly, bugs can destroy your application. So they created this application called Bugzilla, which will track the bugs. And finally, after a few iterations, when the application became very good, they named it from Bugzilla, Zilla, Zira, Jira. Then that's how that happened. So, like from Bugzilla, Jira, that's how they reached here. So I also don't understand how they reached here, but yeah, that's the story. Yeah, that's the story. So, and the name Atlassian of the company comes from Atlas, and if you see Atlas, right, or if you see older logos of Atlassian, you'll see a giant holding the world, right? So basically, there is a Roman philosophy that we always stand on the shoulder of giants. That means whatever we do is an extension of what our previous generation did. Basically, similar in coding, right? Your child always extends the parent, right? Gojira comes from Godzilla. Huh? Okay, Godzilla. Okay, it's coming from that place. Okay, okay. Thanks for that. So if you see, right, it's basically the world always stands on the shoulder of giants. That means whatever our previous generation did, we always extend that. So we learn from our previous mistakes, we learn from our previous generation's discoveries, we learn from their inventions, and then we move forward. That's what Atlassian also believes in. That's a core philosophy in our work, that you should always learn from previous mistakes. You should always learn from previous innovations. So you should learn, combine the two, and then move forward. So standing on the shoulder of giants, that's what is the philosophy of like when they started Atlassian as a company. Anyway, cool. So let's do one thing. Dependency inversion principle, I'll take it tomorrow. I want to go a bit deeper on it, and today, let's take it tomorrow. I'm not feeling that enthusiastic now to take. Is that okay for everyone? Can we take it on the not tomorrow, the next class, that is Friday, the final dependency inversion principle? Okay, cool. Please make sure that you code. Okay, if you don't code the 3 versions, you'll not understand. Please code. Okay, please code it out. Okay, write the code for all the 3 Word versions. This will also help you to maintain your GitHub profile and all that. So do that. I'll launch the doubt session. In case anybody has any doubts, please feel free. Naveen, I can see a doubt. What is the mental model to hold the principal abstraction plus TPS plus solid plus design buttons? How they connect with each other? This I will answer you, Naveen, after first week of April. Let's do a few more sessions, then I'll discuss this. Okay? Ask me this again after, let's say, first week of April. Okay? Ask this to me again. Oh, you were there as well? Hey, you are studying so much. Some Naveen also attended the last night's class. Niti also attended the last night's class. तब पढ़ोगे तो कैसे चलेगा? Sure, Dhananjay. But I appreciate, guys. I appreciate. It's good that you are so conscious. Good thing. Okay, Dhananjay. Hi. Hi, Dhananjay. Are you there? And
Hey, Sandeep. Can you hear me, Sandeep?
I can hear you. Yeah. So Dhananjay, one question. Did you attend the last class?
Master class you're talking, your previous class?
No.
Yes, yeah, I attended.
You did, right? Okay. If you remember, the previous class we discussed about this make sound method, because we were supporting multiple birds. We said that okay, let's create a normal bird class where the
Yeah,
make sound.
Sandeep, sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, I'm clear with the concept actually, but I just wanted on high levels, what we discussed in the version 0 and what is the issue. I mean, just on a high level, one statement.
Basically, version 1 was, version 0 was basic bird class, and everything was conditional. There was no crow bird, there was no sparrow, there was no pigeon. Whatever you wanted to do, all was conditional. You have to pass a crow as a keyword, and it will take the condition and do it. This was violating everything. It was violating SRP, it was violating LSP, it was violating OCP. Everything was getting violated here. Okay?
Right.
This is the version 0, basic version. Now from here, to fix the SRP and OCP, what we did is that we created a bird abstract class, and because every bird will have its own make sound, will have its own fly. We thought that okay, let's create the actual implementation classes of bird, which will have their own logic for fly, which will have their own logic for make sound, which will have their own logic for dance. So now the bird class is not having any core responsibility. So SRP is working great, and as well
Okay.
as the next OCP is also working because there is no if else anymore. If I want to add, let's say, a new bird, I can just add a new class and add that here, right?
Right.
Okay. So SRP, OCP both are working, but there was a big problem. The problem was, let's say, if I add a new bird like penguin, penguin cannot fly. So what can I do in that case?
Mm.
Like, I keep the fly method empty, or should I throw an exception and all? So we thought, okay, let's create a fly. Let's take fly as an abstract class, flyable and non-flyable, and then we can group them together. But
Yeah.
in the future, somebody can come and say, okay, create a bird which cannot dance also, create a bird which cannot make sound also. So if I look into all the combinations, I was saying that okay, I have to create so many such combinations, and it will lead to class explosion, right?
Right. Right.
Yes. So that's why we said that okay, let's do one thing. Let's not go with version 0. Let's not go with version 1. Let's go with version 2. What do we do with version 2? For each behavior, we create a separate what do you say interface for each behavior. And whatever behavior I want to depict, I will simply implement that interface. So let's say Crow later on also wants to dance. It will just implement this and good to go. There should be no other changes. Just add the dance method, implement it, and you're good. So in this, we are having the bird as an abstract class, and all the behaviors become an interface, and the actual bird, like the concrete bird, will inherit from the bird abstract class and will implement whatever behaviors it wants to implement.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, and this is following everything. This is following SRP, this is following LSP, this is following OCP, ISP. Everything is being followed by this particular version. All the solid principles.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I just missed. I mean, what was the issue in the version 0 and 1? Yeah, but concept is pretty much clear. Sandeep.
Yeah, no? Okay, awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Actually, no, Rajesh. Generally, they complement each other. So they actually complement each other. So when you have, when you sort of, what do you say, follow one or two solid principles, right? They actually start making you follow, like automatically some other solid principle will follow. So if you see here, everyone, when we make the version 2, we were actually solving just for SRP and OCP, right? If you remember, when we solved for the version 2, we were only solving for SRP and OCP. Do you remember, everyone? But that also led us to solve for ISP and LSP, correct? It also solved the Liskov substitution principle, also solved the interface segregation principle, right? So they complement each other. It's not like they will attack each other. Like so if you follow one or two solid principles, automatically other solid principles will start following in that. Uh, so okay. So Naveen, two things. What happens? What I have seen in my experience, right? Number one, those who don't know solid don't understand solid well. First of all, so they don't like somebody who does not understand solid well. They cannot apply solid at all. That's one of the most important problem. And they don't look into the bigger picture. So, for example, if you stopped here as per the given scope, was there any problem? If we just stopped at version 1, it was following SRP, it was following OCP. But when that question comes, that if penguin comes, then what do you do? Then you said, okay, let's do this. That okay, let's create a flyable abstract class, non-flyable abstract class. But did you also think as a coder, if flyable option is coming, why cannot danceable option come in? Why cannot make sound option come in? Step back and looking into it, right? That is very important, not just for solid, but for everything else, right? Uh, uh, Now, after that, this is what generally those who are less experienced folks, they follow this. For very experienced folks, what problem happens is they a lot of times do over engineering. A lot of times they end up doing over engineering. They end up, I will somehow apply solid. Even if it makes my code too complex, I'll apply solid. So don't do that. Don't over engineer. At times, if things are running smooth, if things are running good, if you don't have a very complex system, let it be. Don't need to. Solids are just guidelines. Solid are not syntax. Solid is not true or false kind of a thing, right? If you apply, great. If you are not able to apply, it's okay. Not a problem. So don't make it too complex. Don't over-engineer. I'll give you one example. I don't know how many of you have seen this, but if you find a very talented coder in your team, or a very experienced coder in your team, specifically in Java, they will unnecessarily apply lambda and string. There is no need. Simple if else will work. Simple for loop will work. Unnecessarily lambda string. No need, no advantage. Just because they know, just because they want to like write some fancy code, they'll write up lambda string. It becomes difficult to debug, it becomes difficult to read. Why to do that? Where there is a need for you to do it, where you're getting an advantage. So don't do those over engineering. That's what I. That's not our fault. That's the business fault. So if business gives you so many features, you'll have to do that. Nothing you can. Okay. Awesome. Cool. Let's then wrap it up here. We'll take the dependency inversion principle in the next class. That is Friday. Yeah, we have a WhatsApp group, Sumit. We have a WhatsApp group. Let me share the link. Can somebody share the link quickly if you have it handy? I got it. Chalo. No need to worry. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you very much. Cool. I'll see you guys in the next class Friday. Bye-bye. Take care. Stay safe. And please code all these things. Chalo. Bye, everyone. Code it out and try to like do peer reviews. It will help you. Do peer reviews if you can, right? So share it, share your GitHub repo of the code in the group, ask somebody to review it, right? And that will help. So try to do peer reviews and all, that will help. Okay, sure. Bye.